Hey guys, Tim here. I'm just about to go into the club to perform my part. I'm rehearsing it. Man, it's a lot of fun, but it's kind of funny because you get inspired by things that you've seen in your life to do some of these stand-up acts. Like, for example, I talk a little bit about when I was a kid, my grandmother had a portrait of slayed Jesus in the room, and she used to make me and my cousins and my brother stay in that room, and we all hated it. Oh man, because it was just morbid, and then the eyes of that portrait like followed you all the way across the room, no matter where you moved. So we all complained about it, me and all my cousins, and she got mad at my oldest cousin once and said, that Jesus, he watches over you. And I think I remember him saying, yeah, that's the problem. That's just not the way I like to think of Jesus, guys. Then, the whole Easter thing I talk about a little bit. And, I talk about they added the eggs and the rabbit and the colored eggs, to make it more fun, but it distracts from the purpose of Jesus' sacrifice at that time. Which is true. They actually did that. They added Easter. It was a pagan holiday, and they did it to gain more customers. So it really sucks that they did that, but that's what we're stuck with today. And then the last thing, I was talking about this with one of the other comedians, discussing what I was going to do, and I talk about Japanese Jesus, and he said something hilarious. He said, well, did they use a shorter cross? Well, and I believe in the stake, not the cross, but either way, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to use that line or not. On one hand, it's a little racial. It could be construed as a little disrespectful. So maybe next time, I don't know. I got some thinking to do on that one. I like to, anytime I talk about Jesus, I want it to be tasteful, and I don't want to offend anybody. So here we go, guys. I'm going in.
All right, your next comedian, he's off the road. Give it up for the Supertrucker Tim, everybody.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hey, you brought up circumcision. I gotta tell you this joke. Sorry about that, guys. Anyhow, guys, it was kind of a weird time. Last weekend it was nice and 14 on the Israeli calendar. It's the date that Jesus finished his ministry. You guys have probably heard that going through the... Now, it's weird to me because I had a girl ask me, what's the deal with the eggs and the rabbit and all that stuff? And I said, well, I guess people just thought Jesus dying wasn't enough fun. So they decided, well, we got to add some stuff to it, which I don't understand personally. Another thing I don't understand is Jesus was unapproachable light at one time. For 3 years, he did an earthly ministry, then became unapproachable light again. But people are only concerned with what he looked like when he was on earth. Which is weird. You got your white Jesus. White Jesus his hair's cropped. He's got a cropped, clean-cut beard. He looks like he works at Kohl's. Then you got black Jesus. I've seen black Jesus. Black Jesus is hip. He's even got a YouTube channel on YouTube. You guys have seen that. There's also Japanese Jesus. I was blown away. This guy, he's got a kimono. He's clean-cut. Looks like a samurai without the sword, but still I was like, dude, why is it so important to everybody that Jesus looks like them? I'm like, I don't care about a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus. I don't care what he looks like. You know what? This is a sacrifice. It's important. That being said, it's not just that. It's also the culture. It's very cultural. I grew up, I'm half Jewish, so my grandma taught me Jesus' original recipe. And here's how she taught me about Jesus. She said, she's Jewish Christian, so she said, she owned a fruit and nut tree farm. So she said, my son, every time you bite into a piece of fruit, thank Jesus because he made this for you. So I said,
every time I started thinking, well, if everybody's going to make Jesus what they want him to be, I want him to be cool. So I'm like, I'd bite into a piece of fruit, and I go, hey, thanks, man. My compliments to the chef. Thanks, dude. That was really cool. And I enjoyed these fruits. Well, then I got to know the other side of my family, Portuguese Jesus. Now, I would stay in this back room at my grandma's place, and there's this poor Jesus. He's beat up, and man, he's up against this piece of wood. He's got barbed wire and crap all over him. He's just beat to hell. And my grandma says, this is your room. You're staying back here. And I go, no, I ain't. No, I ain't. I am not staying back there. And I said, I'm sorry, Grandma. I like Jesus, Jewish Jesus way better than Portuguese Jesus. She did not like that. Didn't make her happy. But then, I started talking to a buddy of mine, and, his ministry was 3.5 years, right? I said, you know what? We're more civilized today. We're a better people. We wouldn't have killed somebody for doing what he did. And then I started really thinking about it. Is that true, though? Because think about it. Jesus was healing all these people, making them, all kinds of problems they had. So he would have put Big Pharma and Medicare out of business in one day. And if that's not bad enough, he's telling people, hey, man, you know what? You're worth a crap. You're worth something. What do you think the politicians would do? Oh, we can't have that. People thinking they're worth it. People thinking independently, we can't have that. And then he starts talking about, there's a scripture where he says, every man and friend will build houses and not someone else have occupancy. You'll build your own houses. So he just put huge construction and renters and tyrannical renters out of business. Dude wouldn't last 3.5 days, much less 3.5 years in our world, in our time. Are you kidding me? But anyhow, guys, just something to think about. It's a great time of year, and that's my time. Thanks.
Dirty pistol, I'm a motherfucking dirty nigga. Dirty niggas like
Supertrucker Tim, everybody. Go ahead and follow him on his YouTube channel. What's the name of it?
Supertrucker Tim.
What's that?
Supertrucker Tim.
It is Supertrucker Tim. All right, follow him on his YouTube channel, Supertrucker Tim. He's got 90 followers, guys, and subscribers. My boy's blowing up.